Why you should play Aatrox, the Darkened Blade. Aatrox is my favorite champion in the entire League of Legends, and while he's seen play here and there in the pro scene and jumped in and out of the meta on giant black wings, he's never really been top tier. But you know what? He's still fun. And that's what this game is about, kids. Fun. Yeah, who would have thought it? So, if you want to have fun and be a lord of carnage, bloodshed, warfare, and destruction, then continue watching the video. The first thing I'd like to go over is Aatrox's most iconic ability, his passive. Aatrox has a passive similar to those of Zac and Anivia, in that the first time he is killed, so long as his passive is not off cooldown, he will revive after a short time. Unlike the revive abilities of Zac and Anivia, however, Aatrox gains a Zhonya's hourglass-like state of invulnerability and untargetability during his revival period. This invulnerability means that Aatrox can use his passive far more aggressively than a Zac or an Anivia could, allowing for early game tower dives and more aggressive plays later on in the match. Moving on, I'd actually like to skip to Aatrox's W before going over his Q. I would normally go in the other order, but his W is his second most iconic ability. In what really is two abilities in one, his W is both a massive sustain tool as well as a burst damage tool. The number one mistake I see a lot of less experienced Aatrox players commit is that they never use Blood Price. Aatrox is a sustaining monster, they say. Aatrox is meant to tank the enemies and heal back all the damage they deal. Well, yeah, that's true, especially the later the game goes, but early on in the game, Aatrox's W deals a bonus 60 damage if you use Blood Price, plus 100% of his bonus AD, which, if you go a Doran's Blade, means an extra 10 AD, and then any masteries or runes that are giving you bonus AD would stack on top of that, so you could have an extra 80 damage to that third proc. The third proc, by the way, does not behave like Jax's, where you have to get all 3 hits within a certain amount of time for it to actually proc the extra damage on the third hit. No, Aatrox can auto-attack 2 things, walk halfway across the map and auto-attack a third, and that third thing will be affected by Blood Price or Thirst, whichever one he has activated. This effectively allows you to save the charge by not auto-attacking, and use it in a more opportune situation if you need to. On Jungle Aatrox, you can use this to charge up so you have a bit of extra damage for your gank, surprising the victim and perhaps forcing a flash or getting a kill with the extra damage. Enough about Bloodthirst and Blood Price, though. Let's move on to his other abilities, such as his E, Blades of Torment. And yes, I know I haven't hit the Q yet, but that's because I don't know, because I like his E. For those of you in the audience keen-eyed enough to have noticed, Aatrox does in fact have an AP scaling on Blades of Torment, as well as on Massacre, his ultimate. Don't play AP Aatrox. It's not good. With Blades of Torment, Aatrox fires off a fairly uniquely shaped skill shot. The ability is fairly straightforward. It does damage and it slows anyone that it hits. Unintuitively though, since Aatrox seems built around his W, Bloodthirst, this ability is the one which you usually are going to be maxing first. That's simply because the base damage is so very high, while also providing wave clear and some decent poke for lane Aatrox. Aatrox's ultimate is Massacre, and it certainly lives up to its name. When cast, Aatrox draws in the blood of nearby foes, dealing magic damage as well as gaining bonus attack speed and bonus attack range. He also gets a really cool looking movement animation. Kind of floats around and hovers a bit. Wings do cool flappy stuff. One of the more important things to remember about this ability is that on activation it does in fact do a decent chunk of damage. Too often I will see inexperienced Aatrox players waste a few hundred magic damage by using Massacre before being anywhere near an opponent. Anyways, at long last we will come around to the last ability that I have not covered, Aatrox's Q, Dark Flight. With Dark Flight, Aatrox slams down in a target location. As you may have noticed, however, Dark Flight targets with 2 concentric circles, one larger and one smaller. Enemies within the inner circle are knocked up for a duration of 1 second. Enemies within the outer circle simply take damage and, well, have an Aatrox next to them. This is what separates the good Aatroxes from the able to aim a little bit better Aatroxes. Anyways, we've managed to cover every single one of Aatrox's abilities, and his build paths cover the spectrum of everything from full tank to off-tank bruiser to full glass cannon carry. So I don't have the time to go into every single one that I'd like to go into. At least not before I'm interrupted by clips.